This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 323.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. We have the technology. Why, hello everybody. This is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. We have one WordCamp next week. It is online, of course. It's WordCamp España, from the basis of being in Spain. It is May 6th through 9th, and you can sign up now completely free. The website, by the way, looks really good. Like I mentioned many years ago, I like looking at WordCamp sites. The site is clean. It's a nice color combo. I don't know, something about it I really do like. So check it out over at 2020.spain.wordcamp.org. If you want to attend, you can from the comfort of your own home. So there you go. What else is in the... that's it for upcoming events. I did want to mention, though, that if you have an event that's online these days and you want to have me share, if it matches the audience of WordPress and WordCamps and whatnot, all things, what we talk about, ideally free. I'm trying to do that first and foremost for the community. Let me know via Twitter or let me know, send me an email, etc. You know how to find me. I will share it on the podcast. So, all right, moving on. Segment 1 in the news. A couple of things to talk about here. On WordCamp topic, WordCamp US is been determined to be an online event for 2020. I am bummed, to say the least. Yes, I really was looking forward to being there for, Monday through Friday. It was going to be a midweek event this year, but it's not going to happen just because of concerns of, the COVID and coronavirus. So it's going to be really valuable still, even online. So definitely plan to attend. I use air quotes, but just be there and show up. It'll be cool. And I'm still going to be on the team to help with some of the PR and marketing. So, all right, so there's that. And also ICANN, the organization and group behind the top-level domains, has halted the $1.1 billion sale of the .org registry. It was going to be purchased by a private equity group, an unknown private equity group. And, of course, the concern there was that they might jack up prices and take people in the nonprofit sector who use .orgs, make it unavailable, out of reach for them to be able to purchase the domain that goes with their nonprofit and what their missions may be. So there's that. So that's kind of good news. And lastly, Mark Uraine, who works for Automatic, he is a designer on Twitter. He's actually his design director at Automatic. He's a great guy. I do know him. It's very cool, very smart. He wrote a piece that's over on the make.wordpress site called Care and Influence, a theory about the WordPress community. It's a really good read. I definitely highly recommend it if you are interested in reading about the WordPress community and the flow and how that works. So there's that. All right, moving right along, the meat potatoes of this week's episode, segment 2, an alternate way to create a post. I've talked about other ways, I think many, many years ago. I was thinking about this again recently. There are many different ways you can create a post on a web page. You could always go to login, go to dashboard, create new post. And there's two different places to do that. You could do it on the left side, you could do it in the little plus on the top side. And I, more often than not, use the left because it's just old creature of habit. So anyway. And also a long time ago, I mentioned offline tools like Mars Edit, which might still work if your host allows XML RPC endpoints. A couple of my hosts don't, and I actually got locked out of one of mine because I guess when I was trying to connect and get that endpoint, the server thought it was being hacked, so then I went to the web page and it says, confirm that I'm a human, and then wait a few minutes to be reset. I'm trying to figure out if I can white label my IP to make sure that doesn't happen again. But that being said, Mars Edit might work for you. Right now, it's not working for me at all. But there are some other ways. So, if you head to the dashboard and you go to settings and writing, now here's what's interesting. You might see the WordPress built-in feature being that you can email things through your dashboard. I say you might see this because I checked a handful of sites and it's still there for me, both locally installed through desktop server and live installs, except on one side of mine, it wasn't there, which was weird. I was already confused about that. Apparently, all those sites, by the way, running WordPress 5.4.1, so it wasn't an issue of versions. But apparently there's been the function that lets you do that, I think it was WP Mail, has been deprecated. It's been removed. But I don't know if it's been officially removed yet. I can't confirm that at the moment. I didn't dive too deep. I was just trying to, kind of get through this project here, this topic. But anyway, so you used to be able to email through the built-in functionality. I don't know if you still can or not. I'm not sure where that lies. But you still can email because there are plugins that take that functionality over. I checked out a couple plugins. One was called Post by Email, and last updated 7 years ago, but it was still in the repo, and it said it may not work. So that was weird. So I didn't try that one at all. I was a little afraid of that one, to tell you the truth. I did find another one called PostE. It was updated a week ago as of this recording, which is a good sign. I looked at some of the notes that it had. It was actually at one point suspended because of a exploit that has been fixed, apparently. So I went through the process. I installed it. I added my email settings to it. And of course, you have to go and get those from your host. Make sure you know what those are. Your mail server, your user ID, and your password. There's a bunch of other settings you can set up for, like who can post, what images are going to be used. Do you want an image, the first image in your email to be as a featured image? You can add video and audio as attachments. And it's interesting. You also kind of want to have it be a secret email address. They suggest that you go create a brand new Gmail account and have it be unknown to anybody else. So anything that comes from that account would automatically, or be sent to that account, would automatically come into the system. So you would send something to that email, and that would automatically ingest it. So you wouldn't share that with anybody else. My first try on this one didn't work. The second try, and I realized this because I got a kickback email that indicated that it was not authorized. So I did a little bit of research, and I realized I had to add my email address into the settings, which then my personal email address, that allowed it to go through. And once I did that, it was really fast. Like I sent a message with some a picture of my dog, some Bacon Ipsum content, a subject, and sent it to the account in question. And I couldn't even get to the inbox of the webmail. It was already out because it moves it right away, already out, and it was already on the website. Again, it's behind a wall in a sense. I mean, it was there as a post and published, but nobody could see it because I deleted it right away. So I thought that was interesting. So you can definitely still email using like this PostE plugin, which I thought was interesting. And that's one way to go. Another way you could always try, if you want to do a post from somewhere else, you could try by using the WordPress app. In this case, I am on an iOS device. And I tried this a handful of times, and it didn't work at first at all. And I'll tell you why. Because, again, I think it's an XML RPC issue. I tried going to some other websites, and they worked right away. Or you put in the domain that you want to connect to, and then it searches for it, and then asks you for username and password. But I would say out of the 10 domains I tried, 2 of them, who were not mine, I knew they were on different hosting companies. One was actually Dustin's, my friend Dustin. It came up with username and password, which was fine. So I'm like, let me try this again with a site that I have control over, and I did, and I connected to it. It depends again on your hosting if they will allow this app to connect, which I thought was interesting. And I went and looked at some of the technical documentation. I guess I could reintegrate XML RPC with some functionality of cPanel if I really wanted to use that. It's kind of a bummer that it doesn't work just outright on a handful of my sites if I was wanted to make updates via the iOS app, but that's nor here nor there. So of course you can use the iOS app. Another way is software automation. You could use a Zapier to connect to WordPress. So perhaps you want to have a post that's related to something else. Let's say you update on a tweet, or you update a Google Sheet or something else. So this happens, Zapier will take it and create a post that way. I've talked about that, I believe, many years ago as well. And lastly, this was the thing that I've been working on most recently and do some massive customizations here, is you can actually create a post from a form. Yes, a form. In this case, I use Gravity Forms, and I'm implementing this, like I said, for a project that will go to draft mode for review on one aspect on one site, and then actually go right to publish on another one. So you can actually have it behind a password page or even a membership page, but you may not want it completely. If it's publicly facing, I will tell you right now, you probably don't want it to automatically be posted. You want to have someone review it just to make sure, right? And limit the size of maybe attachments you can have. But I'm creating this Gravity form. I'm using pods with it and some custom fields, because that way I can actually really determine what happens and what gets placed where. So a form is a really easy way, in my opinion, to actually have the ability to expedite post creation. So in this case, it's like for a workout group I'm a part of, we're going to create this form. It makes it much easier. Nobody has to log into Dashboard to create the post. They just fill in the blanks, and the post is created, which is pretty cool. So, and if it's behind just a basic a basic password protected page, it's not a big deal. So you don't need a whole membership site for that, but you could do it through a membership site as well if you wanted to have that type of thing. Or even Restrict Content Pro could just restrict the content based on users as well. So to get to that page, still easier in theory than possibly using the actual create post setup. That's what I'm trying to say here. So a couple ways to go. You could use it. Like I said, let me go these over again real quick. You can email, either built-in or not built-in. The built-in one, I never got to work way back in the day. You can obviously use an offline service like Mars Edit or something. You can use the iOS app, automation, and of course, my favorite lately is the form. Well, my favorite for this need right now is using a form to create a post. So something to think about and maybe put into place if you want. And I'm sure, I'm 99% sure that other plugins, form plugins, can do the same thing. There are so many plugins out there. WP Forms, Gravity Forms is the one I use. I just can't think of the rest of them, what they're all called, but I'm sure there's plenty of them that can probably also create posts as well. And go right to draft mode, right to publish mode, maybe awaiting review. You can set the different settings there as well. So, all right, hope that helps you kind of give some ideas on how to create content and posts for your website. All right, moving on, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This one is called prettier.io. It's a website. What is Prettier? Well, it is what they say it is. It's an opinionated code formatter, supports many languages, integrates with most editors, has a few options. Why you need this? It saves you time if your code is formatted. No need to discuss code in review, and saves you time and energy. It's over at prettier.io. I believe it's free. I have no connection to them. They have a paid level for enterprise, but I don't think you need that. You have to install it. It works with Atom, Emacs, Espresso, Sublime Text, VS Code, Vim. It just does it cleans up your overall code if you're a developer. So there you go. All right, that is it for this week. If you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email, adam@kitchensinkwp.com, or use a speak pipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, you can do that. Becoming a Patreon would be awesome. You can sponsor the show, also a form on the website. Thank you so much for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right, bye-bye.